Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to this special evening at Kuits. As I said to you outside, once we'd announced that David Russell was our guest speaker for the first in the third season of the Bold and the Brave interview series that the Business Desk and Kuits do together, once we realised it was going to be David who was our special guest, I think the word went round that we're going to need a bigger room. So those of you who are regulars, you'll know that we've moved from downstairs on the ground floor up to here on the 7th to more space. Those of you that have not been before, welcome. You are most welcome. And most of all, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest today, Chairman of Property Alliance Group, self-described hairy-ass property developer from the north. Ladies and gentlemen, I present David Russell. So David, the first question I'm going to ask you, and lots of people might have heard about that you've had a health scare in the last few years. Yeah. How are you?
I'm about 98%, 99% recovered now.
Brilliant. We'll come on to that later on. We'll talk a little bit more about your own challenge of a cancer diagnosis, but really today's it's not a medical seminar. It's a good opportunity to have a chat about your life, your achievements, and also I think some really important issues about how you conduct yourself in business through some of your experiences that you've had.
Yep.
Should we get a show of hands first of all of how many people are here from banks so we know who we can give a good kick into? I know for a fact that that's a lie. There are far more than that.
Is there?
Yeah. So David, first of all, tell us a little bit more about what Property Alliance Group's got on at the moment, what projects you've got, and how you feel the tempo of the business is at the moment.
Not too much at the moment because the market's extremely difficult, and to try and make a profit is equally difficult, and nobody's selling, nobody seems to be buying. So we're just trying to look at different things and different projects, and we're talking about it today, and it's a bit like a boat that's stuck in the sea without any wind, and a lot of people can sit in the boat waiting for the wind to find them, where they've got to really turn the boat around and change tack and find the wind, and then sail into more interesting areas. So it is quiet at the moment for sure.
Yeah. But you've been through these cycles before. I won't embarrass you by asking how old you are, but
he's actually wanting to reply then, wasn't he? I'm 70 this September. Yeah. Just on the projects that we're doing, even them are slightly on stall because we've got Upper Brook Street, which is over a £300 million scheme that Alex, my son's, doing, and the building just through the window there, the Tree House Hotel, that's supposed to be a huge office building and residential, 300 odd resi. It's just hard to make anything stack at the moment in terms of yield. The lads that are in property around here, I can see quite a few already nodding their heads. You just got to search and look. Like in the last recession in 08, 9, 10, we were able to set up a challenged asset business called APAM, where in the end we shifted 2.8 billion worth of products to about 2015 and sold it then for 28 million. And that was based on looking for other business and trying to keep all my team busy. And at first just breaking even and paying wages, where it turned out to be a great business. But this time round, that sort of business is very difficult to do because the banks aren't really in the market like they were before. They're all overborrowed and overstretched. So the banks are offloading a lot of stock. That sort of business, we've tried it and it's very difficult to find challenged assets or stressed assets, although we are getting some traction now on residential. So that's going quite well. Yeah,
and your Upper Brook Street scheme, presumably that's tied in with everything that's going on at the university and that development of that part of the world.
Yeah, I don't know too much of it because my son won't let me get involved. He keeps telling me I'm too old now. I don't know what I'm talking about. But,
yeah,
and he's probably right actually. But the Upper Brook Street scheme is lots of student and lots of science office buildings, and this one here, as I say, is resi offices and that hotel. The hotel opens fully in 2 weeks' time. So it is great space because I went to the one in London. Treehouse in London is really, really popular, particularly at night time, as great going out space as well. So it's It's a good product.
I've stayed there as well. It's great, isn't it? Right next to where the BBC is, isn't it?
Yeah, the one down in London.
Yeah.
If they'd told us what the spec was, and that building is the exact spec that they wanted, we'd have probably asked more money for it because it's such a great building for them. It's a perfect choice.
Right,
Hello, Callum. How you doing? Still waiting on that call.
Okay, let's look back to how you got started in business, because you grew up in Rochdale. You still got the accent.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's good. And you're working on the market.
Yeah.
Apprentice as a joiner.
Yeah.
That's quite an unorthodox route into the property world, but how did you get started and what gave you that kind of spark to want to get involved in business? And so tell everybody about the earlier businesses that you had in kitchens and homes and stuff like that.
Yeah, just I sort of had 2 or 3 jobs when I was in my 13, 14 years of age stuff. Didn't really get too much school. Then started working 2 or 3 days on the market. And then at 15, my dad said he'd got me a job working as an apprentice joiner. I started on Monday. And it was in May, and I said, "You don't finish school." He said, "Well, you don't go to school anyway, so." And he just felt that whilst I was bright enough at school, I could do a lot better just getting on with work, which is what I tell quite a few people as well, that they're just coasting through sixth form and university, coming out with a degree that doesn't work for anything. So I finished the markets, went to be an apprentice. And 2 or 3 years later, the foreman said, "You're not a bad joiner, but I think you make a better salesman." And so he said, "Why don't you get some sales training?" So as usual with adverts in magazines, they promise you marketing and sales training, but in reality, you're just cheap labour working for them, and you've got to pick it up yourself and learn really without relying on other people, which is probably a theme I try and use with a lot of my staff. You know, nobody's responsible for your success. You've got to actually work at it and find your route and, you know, ask and push and ask and push. So then I fell into sales, retail at first. Good stories about that and learning. And everybody always said I used to be very lucky, but I think luck's reasonably important, but you make your own luck. 90% of my luck was found and made by myself, really. And then we flipped out of what I was selling into kitchens. And then I just thought what Moblin were doing for kitchens, they weren't supplying a great product, they were in effect ripping customers off. Didn't give any salesmen, I'm 70 by the way, and 50 years ago, salesmen didn't really exist as any sort of training. They didn't have body language and all kinds of techniques on how you sell. You just fell into it with no qualifications. You didn't have a job doing anything else, so actually I'll be a salesman.
Yeah.
So we developed training then and body language then and built up a business. We ended up with 700 sales staff, 3,500 staff in the office and 36 branches, as big as Moblin and Kitchens Direct in the day. A lot of you won't know who Moblin and Kitchens Direct are.
Moblin Kitchens, anyone? Yeah.
The older ones, and then I sold that. I sold that to a FTSE 100 when I was 29.
Wow.
And pocketed £12 million. And then when you've no experience and no knowledge, you go into property, don't you? And,
there's a few people nodding at that one. Yeah.
And so as apprentice joiner, I knew what I was doing. I started converting warehouses and industrial units, and then renting them out. Moved on to a lot of offices in Manchester. 14 hotels we built in Manchester City Centre.
Right.
And just worked through that and created Property Alliance Group, really. But always with the, you know, for me, it's always been fun. I've never worked in a place where I weren't enjoying it, fortunately. I know some people have to, but I've never worked for anybody that I've not enjoyed working with them. And if I didn't agree with them, like at Melbourne, on how they treated customers, how they treated sales staff, I've walked out and set up my own business, which is the reason why I set it up, to be honest. Because people who signed up on finance for 7 years, you know, your mums and dads, Melbourne used to, in effect, stitch them up, so I couldn't do that. So that's why we did it the right way, the professional way, and got a lot of repeat business. And all my salesmen earned good money, whereas at Melbourne, very rarely did they earn good money. You know, all self-employed as well. There's no PAYE in them days.
So I don't know if anybody here in the audience know, I'm sure a lot of you will have heard a household name in the Northwest business world called Brian Kennedy. He was owner of Sale Sharks in Stockport County at one point and made his fortune in double glazing, but he worked for you, didn't he?
Yeah, Brian was my sales director, and he just rang me one day when he was in Glasgow. He just walked out of Melbourne as well. And so Brian ran Glasgow and then built up Aberdeen and Edinburgh, and eventually we grew the business together. And as Brian recalls, we were still best friends. I still see him probably when I was in the country once every 2 weeks. But for the short time we're together, which is only 4 or 5 years, we've been lifetime friends. Because he's probably, without doubt, the most honest, absolutely great guy I've ever met in my life. He's just Brian's integrity and honesty is fantastic. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to piece the timeline together from what we've spoken about in the times we've spent together before, David. And one thing I'm absolutely intrigued about is, you made your first fortune in the kitchens business, and then getting involved in model agencies. I can't think what a 29-year-old recently endowed millionaire would want.
Well endowed or recently endowed?
That was very deliberate. It was very deliberate. And I remind you, your son's in the room, but I'm sure he's heard all these stories before.
Well, he's seen me naked in the bathroom.
I'm sure you've seen him as well.
He's only got a little one.
But tell us, how on earth did you get involved in the modelling world? I won't ask why. It would appear quite obvious.
It again goes back to trying to help people succeed and be successful. The girl I met on one particular holiday, which I ended up going out with, she was a Victoria's Secret model. Right. And even in them days, 86, she used to earn a minimum $10,000 a day. Wow. And she was ever getting confused when she got her commissions. And we had a flat in Paris and a place in London. And she'd get very upset because her commissions were never right, but they're always in the favour of the agency, never in her favour. Right. So I set her up with a diary. I mean, people like Stephen be a bit surprised that my admin's never been great, but when it needs to be, it is. And so we ran a diary for a while, and I proved to her that her agency was, in effect, ripping her off. And so I started looking after it for her. And she worked for IT in New York and City Models in Paris and Storm. And we grouped all together. It was early computers as well. And she was always getting double booked, literally around the world. And so we set all that up and ran it, and it started doing really well. So eventually I had 7 or 8 of the top girls in the world that she was working with. And they all started working for me as well. So I had an agency called Enigma, and we did really well and had some amazing times because we had a party every weekend. We had a flat in New York as well, on White Street in New York, and we had Saint-Germain in Paris, and it was quite hectic and a lot of fun. But actually, in the end, I didn't enjoy it. After 2 or 3 years of doing it, I missed Manchester, my family, and my friends. So literally, I was flying in with. Has anybody heard of Chrissy Turlington? Yeah. I was seeing her at the time, and I flew into Manchester, and it was raining. And I just said to her, "That's it, I'm selling the business." Starting off in Manchester again.
Right. You're not persuaded her to stay? I can't imagine why.
They're all lunatics. They're all these girls are crazy, and the people they live with and work with. And, we used to go to the Hamptons, and all the actors, they're all paranoid, they're all crazy, drugs. It was a crazy lifestyle, which was good for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. There's so many more stories there, aren't there? There's so many more.
No, that's when I went into property, when I was about 32, 33.
Yeah.
And so that's not looked back, really. Alliance has been great.
So that's taken us about 40 years. We're in the 80s, 90s. Manchester, on a turn, shall we say. This is pre-1996. The city's in a bad place, but presumably you saw that as rich pickings to start the process of what we now call regeneration, right?
Yeah, but property is really difficult because it takes 3 to 5 years to turn a deal over. So don't let anybody think that tell you that the brilliant of property, it's in the timing.
Yeah.
And timing's just luck. You could buy a deal at the right time, but then by the time you got planning, ever more so difficult these days, and so much longer. And then you get planning, then you start to build it, and you 3 or 4 years, then you want to try and let it or do something else with it, unless you've done a 25-year hotel deal. You can just catch the market at the wrong time.
Yeah.
But in '96, I did have quite a lot of cash, because I was investing quite a lot of money for these girls as well. So I had quite a lot of cash, I had my own cash. So '96 was a great opportunity time, to buy property at the right price, or land for future building. And different to the one in 08, 09.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had COVID, and then it doesn't seem to have stopped, does it, since COVID? COVID, Brexit, Keir Starmer.
All sorts of challenges, and who knows what next.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important aspects of that era of Manchester's transformation, I can literally see a crane on the skyline through that narrow sliver, through that window there. I think it's worth us just spending a little bit of time to talk about the impact and the input into this renaissance of Sir Howard Bernstein.
Yeah.
I knew Howard pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine's writing a biography of him, which I've had a sight of. Needs a lot of words cutting out of it at the moment, but I would say that, I'm an editor. But Howard thought a lot of you as well. He kind of brought you into the fold in that.
Well, it's called a family, and he expects a lot of input from you, different people. And if you put it in, as should be the way of all businesses, I picked the name Alliance because it's supposed to mean sharing and partnering.
Yeah.
And if you put the effort in with Howard, then he put the effort in. But he was brilliant, like if you think about go to Birmingham and drive around Birmingham and compare that to Manchester, they were probably a bigger, more leading city 30 years ago. And you drive around Manchester now, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And with Councillor Richard Leese and the team like David Roscoe, Pat Bartoli, he built an incredible team. And, if I saw that building and fancied buying it, I'd ring up David or one of the others and say, I'm thinking about buying such and such. Yeah, David, what do you want to do? Well, I want to put this on and do this, do that. Yeah, okay, you can have that, or no, you can't. And if they said, no, you can't, that was as good as don't buy it, because, or you might even sometimes say, somebody else is looking at that, David, you leave that alone. So Howard was fantastic. And what you've got in Manchester today is probably, I would say, without exaggeration, 80% down to Howard and Councillor Leese and his team. They're amazing, Even lawyers, Stephen, you could ring Howard up or Councillor Leese, and he always would see and spend time with you and encourage you. But when he wanted you to do something, like if you go to St. Peter's Square, there's a bronze statue of
Emmeline Pankhurst.
Emmeline Pankhurst, yeah. I was hoping one of the ladies would guess that rather than I had to stall on purpose then, Michael. And he just rang me and he said, David, we're short on this bronze statue, Emily Pankhurst. I said, how much, Howard? And he went, it's about 120 grand, David. I went, right, okay, we'll support it. Right. Because that was how he traded. He was totally uncorruptible, but he actually got you to put money into Manchester and pay for things that was for Manchester. He was out and out 100% Mancunian.
So you didn't mind paying that Howard tax, as it was?
I don't think I had a choice. But it was a great choice, you know what I mean? And I love Manchester. It's been amazing for me.
Yeah.
If you worked in Birmingham and that, it's terrible. And the processes that you've got, it's 16 different parties at the moment, aren't they? They've got no control.
Yeah.
The dustbin strike and all that would never happen in Sir Howard's day in Manchester. Mm-hmm. They got to the heart of it and solved the problem there and then. So we're very, very lucky. Look at Manchester. I think last time I looked at it, which is a long time ago, it's got the highest student, retention in Europe.
Yeah.
He's got great stats throughout. And the big thing is all the funds from London and America know that, it's in Manchester, right, you can do business in Manchester. So funds would invest quite easily in Manchester because they knew they'd get a fast result, a quick result, be able to go and see the main person. I've had major funds in London saying, can you fix a meeting up with Sir Howard? And you'd pick the phone up and ring while you're there. And he'd agree a time and a day. He was brilliant with all the funds.
Yeah.
Because he knew that the money coming in would feed and supply all the other things. And you look at Council Lease, he's retired. He could have walked in some top jobs. He's still working in the NHS. He's not chosen a job for salary and for financial advancement. He's still putting it back in.
Yeah.
I don't know, he's got to be 70. The example they set is fantastic.
Incredible, isn't it? Thinking about it. But I'm conscious, I mean, like a lot of property businesses in Manchester, some of which you've mentioned their names already. I'm thinking about like Hurstwood. Steve Ashworth's son's just followed his dad into the business. The Oglesby is obviously something of a dynasty as well, isn't it? And your son Alex, who's here tonight, has followed you into the business. Though obviously he's worked on the agency side as well before joining you. How does that dynamic work? And is that what you always envisage when Alex showed a readiness to go into property?
No, my other sons do what they want to do. And Alex, when he was 15, 16, he worked for several companies for a week here and a week there for work experience. And I said, find out who you most like in terms of character and personality. And if you enjoy working with them, that's people, if they're lucky and they're good at what they do, gravitate, in my opinion, towards what they enjoy and what they're good at. So he went to a few firms. He found solicitors a bit dull and boring, and accountants a bit anal and things like that. And then he worked for a guy called Rick Davis. John is here, aren't you, Johnny? John's partner. He went working for Rick Davis, and I think he'd only been there 2 hours. And he rang me and said, I want to be a chartered surveyor, Dad.
Right.
So he made his mind up.
Yeah.
And he worked for two. He worked for WHR, and he worked for CBRE. And then we just got talking. He said, I think I'm ready to come and work with you now. You know? And his two nephews, cousins, Gareth and Andy, were running Russell's Construction at the time, which was doing extremely well. And so it's a family business, not really. I don't have any control over what the boys do. They pick and choose what they want to do.
Yeah. How many kids you got? I asked Boris Johnson that one.
Alex just found out about another one last week. I thought he knew actually, but he didn't.
But not everybody's followed you into the family business then. As you said, some of your other kids do other things.
My other kids, yeah. And they Byron works in New York as a finance banker. Merchant banker. Ella is in Australia. She's got a PR business.
Wow.
And Tom's in Dubai selling investment stuff. Yeah, so they've all gone as far away as they can from me, other than Alex.
Very good. So I'm going to push you a little bit more on this. What do you think Alex has learned from you, and how do you maintain that steady hand, but letting him make his own mistakes, maybe?
Well, I'm sure a few of you here have took your son for a driving lesson, and you end up arguing in the car because they don't listen to you, and yet your uncle will take you, and you'll listen to your uncle. I just find kids in general will listen to other people, maybe people you introduce them to as well, and they'll take advice from a lot of people. But it's always a bit of a contest between your son, particularly if you brought them up to be strong enough to speak their own mind and do their own thing. Andrew's looking in the sky trying to reminisce his lads, aren't you? So I've loved bringing kids around. I actually genuinely love kids. I find kids more interesting than adults, to be honest. But I try with the boys to give them advice, but they live their own life and choose to do what they want to do. And if I try too hard to win my way, often they probably go the opposite direction sometimes, just to prove they can do it that way as well as your way. So they do their own thing, really.
So I think lots of people who might have known you through your business life, I think a lot of people have got a David Russell story. But what's the strangest one you've heard about yourself that wasn't true?
Oh, that wasn't true.
One that you can say in public, anyway.
Yeah, well, when I went to the toilet and noticed a lot of girls, I thought, geez, I'm going to have to cut back an awful lot of those. I don't know. I've been in rooms where people have told stories about something they got up to at an event where they've been encouraged to tell the story. And then as I'm listening, I'm thinking, I said, that was me. I was in that room. He's just saying he was in the room.
He wasn't there.
And he wasn't there. I've never sort of called him out on it.
No.
But, so there's quite a few stories.
I mean, just to turn it into a slightly macabre turn now, though, one of the stories I heard is that you were knocking on death's door, and yet here you are as you live and breathe. So how did all of that come about? And your road to recovery has been amazing. You showed me the pictures of where you were when you dropped a lot of weight during your treatment, and unrecognisable to... You're looking well now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because people say all the time at the moment, you're looking great, and I can't decide whether they actually mean it, or they're comparing me to how I looked about a year ago, or just being polite because I probably still look a bit rough, but actually better than what I did, so I don't know. Look, about 2 years ago, in May, started feeling a bit bad, stomach ache, backache, put it with a bit longer, took some of these stupid potions and lotions from, the massage lady or this person who, try this, it's really good. Your stomach cleanse, kidney wash, all sorts of daft things. So eventually I did go to doctors who bollocked me for not going sooner and sent me off. And then I started having scans and processes. And I didn't go private. I could have done private because the company's got private health. But I decided I'd go through National Health because I'm working class lad, so I didn't really want to push ahead of the queue. And that's where I got accused by the guy at Christie's. And so eventually I got to the day when I was going to see them at Christie's, which is quite an amazing place, but it's also quite a daunting place. They should pick names for the rooms, but they call it all Section 29 and Section 30. So these section names just like... So I went in and she sort of was rushed off her feet, running around. They were very, very busy and stressed. And then she sat down. She said, I'm sorry I'm late. I said, it's all right. And I said, she says, right. She says, do you want it hard and fast or do you want it? And I said, no, just so, And she says, right. She says, you're not going to make Christmas. And you've got about 3 months. And so it was a shock. And
she told you had 3 months? Yeah,
but I'm quite positive. So... I mean, Mike asked, should he bring it up? And the only message I want to try and get across to everybody is what I put a lot of my success down the years, is because they always look at the positive side. In a meeting today with Alex in the room and Dylan, we always tease Dylan because he's negative, and he always thinks the worst. He goes to the toilet, he always thinks he's going to pee in his pants, but he's just totally negative all the time, and so we try and get to a positive. So I was absolutely positive. I left the room completely convinced I'd make it past Christmas and I'd be fine. And went up to see another guy the following day and started on chemo. First 3 lots of chemo every 3 weeks. And there's a lot of rumours going around Manchester at the time. I was telling everybody I had a bit of an infected liver, but lots of other rumours running around about what I had and how things were. And so I eventually bought a wig. And it's funny because when they brought the wig out, I said, that's not my hair colour, it's not that grey, And she held it next to me in the mirror and it was. And then I dropped a lot of weight, went down to 81 kilos. And the chemo was working, which was great. And then by Christmas, I'd got substantial amount shifted. And then they put me on tablets, so I've been on tablets, which has shifted a lot more. And I'm about 99% recovered.
So that positivity and that positive mental attitude, it can't just be about that. Are there any other medical remedies that you've built into the way your diet,
that's part,
your training, anything like that?
That's part of being positive, because I see this lady who does meditation.
Right.
And she's all about believing in meditation, believing that your brain, there's a book, I think it's called, I remember in a minute, Placebo Effect. And that guy was in a serious road accident, couldn't walk. He was going to have steel rods put down his spine. And over 3 or 4 months in hospital, he convinced himself through his power of his brain, because you've heard of people taking 2 lots of tablets, the tablets that are going to sort you out and affect you. And then the other half of people take this placebo. And yet something like about 28% of people who take the placebo are cured just as quick because they believe in the brain it's working. And I'd had a really bad spine injury on my disc like 25 years ago. And this lady I met in India at this ashram, in effect cured my discs and got them from being 3 black discs on x-ray to rehydrated, all from the power of your brain, working through your system and curing yourself from your power of your brain, from meditation. And you have to believe in it, and you have to be positive, which is what it's all about. So in the January, February of my chemo finishing, the oncologist literally rang me and said, I'm just looking at the stats, David, and your bloods are off the chart and your energy levels are amazing. What were you doing other than just the chemo and these tablets? And I said, well, I was having, it's called acuenergenics, and
right.
And this lady, she shifts all the energy around your body as well. And it obviously it worked for me. And but it's all about winning. And I think I've not told this only privately to 1 or 2 people now. I was 67. I was always going to beat the cancer, because if it got to a point where I weren't winning, I was just going to go up to the top of the mill with my shotgun and shoot the cancer dead anyway. Because that's what's in my brain, that I was going to win, come what may. So I do believe if you're positive about things, even on business and on results, if you're positive, 9 times out of 10, I'm convinced that you can get a result from being positive. You go into something half-hearted and not confident and not sure, it won't happen for you. It just won't happen, in my opinion.
Fantastic. That's a great motive for life, isn't it? No, I don't want to finish. So sometimes when I do these events, I like to finish off on a bit of a quick fire round, but I think coming off the back of something like that, it would seem to trivialise it a bit, really. But these interviews, David, are called The Bold and the Brave. Do you feel brave? You've clearly just explained that you're very bold in your positive attitude. Do you feel brave having been through what you've been through?
No, I feel positive.
Yeah.
It's not brave. It's like, it's I'm going to win, I'm going to get there. It's the same if you go out in business or you go and meet somebody, you just got to be positive about it and confident that get through. And sometimes it frustrates people when you say, don't worry about it, it'll sort itself out. And somehow it does. So it's more positive than brave.
Brilliant.
And I think the not giving a shit if it comes the other way as well. Yeah.
What more do you want to achieve in your life now, given everything that you've done? Start another model agency, maybe? No. But no, what more do you want?
I'll take some more of that gel, won't I?
What more do you want to achieve? What more do you want to achieve in your life and your career?
I enjoy working, I enjoy meeting people, I enjoy socialising. So more of that, really, and sport and
skiing.
People. And, I actually genuinely enjoy helping people succeed.
Yeah.
So when I can do that, I'd like to meet younger lads. A young lad here today, Cameron, who's a super nice lad. And he's got a great job at the moment. We're together. He's working with a great company. And seeing him succeed will be, really good. So it's seeing how people do and how well they do and just enjoying things, really. And
do you invest in other businesses outside of property?
A couple, but I guess you should really. In my life, I've come across people who are very successful who believe because they've been good at that, then they can touch anything else and it's successful. Yeah. You really, most people are successful because they're in a business and it grows and gets bigger. And really, it's the business and them that's growing. Yeah. And suddenly they've sold out and got all this money, and then they suddenly think, I can do that business, I'm going to put some money in this one, and I'll open a couple of restaurants because that's easy as well. And then they waste the money and lose it.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah. Restaurants? It don't count, but yeah, I did. Because I sold it and it became a property. The 3 restaurants I had were not making any money. So I started charging them rent. And my partner said, how are you going to pay rent if they're not making any money, I said, they'll pay rent, I bet you. And so all of a sudden they're all paying me 17, 18 grand a year rent on the building I owned, but he weren't making any money before. They were just putting it in the pocket, weren't they?
Right. Wow.
So, but I think just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean say you're good at lots of other things.
What do you think's the most important attribute to being successful in business?
Well, sharing it and enjoying it, having fun.
Yeah.
Just having fun, really.
And what about? I thought you were going to say something different, actually. You've talked a lot, again, to repeat myself. Moban Kitchens are ripping people off.
Yeah.
The models that you work with are being ripped off. You've seen dishonour amongst the banks that were behaved badly, in your view, in those days. But you therefore, I get the sense that you throw a lot of store behind honour. And
yeah, but a lot of people would say it's, in some regards, it's wasting your time sometimes. You know, spending money on things or getting pissed off about something. Maybe I shouldn't bother as much about it.
Right.
I don't know what advice I'd give somebody. Just, you know, if you think something's wrong, you should go and challenge it.
Yeah.
You know, same as if you're on the street and somebody's being bullied or pushed around.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just stand by and walk away. And you might end up getting, you know, whacked over your head, but I don't think you should walk away from people not being respected and looked after, yeah.
Has that happened to you?
What?
Someone bashed you over the head?
No, nobody would do that.
Good.
I'd talk them out of it.
Good. And what's the next year hold for you? What are you excited about? Next big holiday, maybe?
No, I just lost my passport, so I didn't make last week's holiday.
Someone hasn't replaced the picture, have they?
Oh, right, yeah. That's a long time ago, that one. He's referring to, I went through Thai customs once, Bank Holiday Friday, and the guy at the customs went ballistic and had me arrested and marched off to prison, and in the cells at the airport. And nobody spoke English till this Australian embassy lad came around. And I said, you find out why I'm here and what's happening to me. So he come back about 30 minutes later, he said, mate, he said, your passport had a monkey's arse on instead of you. He says, somebody slipped a picture in. And he said, it's one of the biggest insults you can give somebody from Thailand is a monkey's arse. So.
Anyway, you saw the funny side of it.
Yeah.
And you can get to tell the story. I bet someone's telling that story today, claiming it was them, aren't they?
Probably. One of 6 lads, we haven't got to the bottom of it yet.
But you've tried. Well,
I've got a great set of mates, and you know, we wind each other up on trips, and a few of you have been on trips. Jonty's been on virtually every one of our trips, haven't you? Should I tell you the orange shorts?
No, don't tell the orange shorts story. No. But no, I did ask you, so what's your next big trip?
No,
you know, plans?
It's really corny this, but actually it's not where you go, it's who you travel with. Yeah. You can have as great a time in Cornwall surfing as you can going somewhere around the world or somewhere special. Because no one's that special unless you're actually with some people that you can have fun with.
Brilliant. So. What a lovely way to look at things. And how are your knees? You still managing to get on skis?
I need to get back to that fitness level,
yeah.
Because I've got a lot of fitness to get back, yeah.
Well, to say what you've been through, right, with your cancer, you're looking amazingly well, isn't he? Yeah.
I just need to lose that bit, don't I?
But you've shared some fantastic stories with us today, and you've given up your time. We've spent some time together chatting in readiness for this. But all that remains for me to do is to thank Kuits for putting the show on, and you for spending your time. And thank you all of you for coming along and being a lovely, attentive audience and laughing in all the right places and grimacing in all the right places as David shared his stories.
We've got 4 or 5 people here who are paid to come and laugh at my joke. Just to encourage everybody else to laugh.
Yeah, they're called Kuits solicitors. Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, David Russell.